Welcome, Wapham crew. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of their four corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420. It is Saturday. Actually, it's Sunday. Sorry, I'm stuck in the past. Sunday, October 24th, Monday, October 25th for those of you across the pond and beyond. Welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. We are live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight, and I am your host, TessTNT. I hope you had an awesome weekend so far. Thank you so much for joining us on one of our many outlets. If you're listening live, right now you're listening to us on Spreaker.com. You can also find us live on KPNL Radio, which you can find at kpnl-db.com. If you'd like to follow us on your own time, you can look us up, again, at Spreaker, also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Tumblr, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Deezer, Podcast Addict, as well as Podcast Chaser. Make sure you follow and like us and give that little bell a ding on YouTube so you know when our new episodes have come out. You can also follow us and check out what we're doing on Facebook and Twitter. So tonight, I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight we will be talking to and getting to know Mr. Patrick Cross. And Patrick is a TV and radio personality, 28 years experienced as a paranormal investigator in ghost activity, hauntings, and the paranormal. Many years of research and over 300 investigations with real chilling experiences, including demonic encounters, appearing in books, consulted upon by TV shows, news, and media. Appearing on many TV and radio shows included Haunted Case Files 1 and 2, ghost tracking tours and seminars, investigations at the famous Casa Loma in Toronto. Patrick is a paranormal representative for Emma's Back Porch and Water Street Cooker for the last 18 years. Ghost consultant, tour guide host, TV media personality, a paranormal representative, and haunted historian. Tour guide, also coordinating ghost tour groups from 10 to 250 people for events, seminars, TV, radio, and news. Live ghost investigations, and hosting media events, including Facebook Live Ghost Investigations. Welcome, Patrick, and thanks for joining us this evening.
Yeah, it's happily haunted to be here. I have to say that because, we're going close to Halloween, so of course, got to say something.
I know, it's just coming up this next week, and I'm super stoked.
Well, I guess you're busy, and we're all busy, doing the thing we do. Of course, investigating ghosts and everything's coming through right now on a pretty good level.
Yeah, we were just talking before we came in on the show when you guys had a tour last night, and it looked like everybody was having a good time, and Boo was just being Boo.
Yeah, well, I don't know, for people who don't know, we have this haunted doll now that we take on the tour. It is a real haunted doll. I'm actually serious. Now, things have happened, but mostly he drinks. He's an alcoholic doll, and he swears a lot, so we have to keep giving him vodka, of course, But it's cool because we brought him on the tour, and we went through a cemetery and went through a haunted church, and we got some really good reactions, the ghosts were coming around him and the spirits and going, what the hell is this? And it was cool. We got some really good photos, and we got some kind of guy priest or something with robes with no head showing up, looking at him and, wondering what the hell is that? And the cemetery is actually protected by, Indian spirits. It's a sacred ground, sacred area. And it was cool. It was we got a good reaction. We had 20 or more people, and we have fun with that. And we really get into the whole nitty gritty and investigations for sure.
Yeah, and you guys had him dressed up as a Rastafarian or whatnot, and
yeah, we changed his outfit, but he's now a Jamaican haunted doll, Rasta guy,
Shabba.
He's got a Rasta hat. it was funny because this black lady who was on the tour last night, she goes, "Oh, I love him." She wanted to take him home, and it was hilarious. And it's like he was all Jamaican-like, and it was like, no, we don't do Jamaican ghost walks, but it was funny. It was just hilarious, and we're just going, "Oh man," and she was right into it, and she was getting photos of the guy, and then something else showed up, right behind us. You can see it on our Facebook page of like some priest looking at us, and weird because the guy had no head and robes and no body and hardly any body and no legs, and it was just really cool.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, what happened to him? What was his demise? Was he beheaded, or did it just not appear when he appeared? It's pretty intriguing to think about.
Well, there was nobody there when we were taking the photos, and I posted it last night, and I go, well, that's really weird because, I didn't see anybody, I didn't feel anything, and it's just like, wow, it just came around. So all is good. We capture lots of stuff, and it's pleasant. It's good for hauntings for sure.
Yeah, and 'tis the season for Halloween, so it sounded like your crew last night was really fun. Like you said, sometimes you get people there that don't want to associate or talk or partake or whatnot, but this crew seemed pretty fun, which can really make the difference in a tour.
Well, if you get into it and you're interactive, and you want to know and you want to learn, that's the whole point. If you're just coming on tour to not say anything and you're just like going, "Hello, are you there? Are you alive?" or something. I try to get people interested, and what we do is I tell the history of the Burlington that we have, Burlington Ghost Walks, and the history, and of course a lot of the ghosts that are here, and a lot of the activity and hauntings. So, I mean, it is folklore. And we incorporate history with it too. So it's a lot of fun. I've been doing this for 20 years. And it's good when you get a good group who really is into it and who likes it and wants to learn about it and find out things.
So has anyone on your tour ever gone home with an attachment or anything like that ever happened?
Well, that's kind of funny that you say that, because I kind of warn people ahead of time. I'm pretty grounded. I protect myself because I have had my own experiences from the past, and I do carry crystals, and I protect myself so I don't get things attached to me or haunted, because things do happen, and you just don't want to have it with you, and you just want to get rid of it. So last night, my assistant, actually funny, it's like Sudi, who female. She's a older woman, but she's pretty psychic and paranormal. She's got her, she's a seer, and she didn't really think that anything was attached to her. Then we went home later, and around later on, about an hour after the tour, she said, "Well, my closet's banging like crazy, and something was trying to come through, and it's trying to come to me and attach to me." And they do follow you home if they're like a lot of the ghosts. I've said this on the tour many times. The ghosts will, if they like you, they'll probably follow you home. Usually they return to the cemetery, but they for some reason they follow you home, and they're curious and they want to see what you're about, and they want to attach to you. So that's happened many times. Last night that happened a lot. So she was calling me around 1 o'clock. It's attacking me, and there's a closet score banging and everything. And well, I said, well, we had a pizza, so you should be okay. It's just like, okay, and then Tanisha's okay. So it's just weird.
That's good.
Yeah.
Attachments can really suck, especially if they last for more than the evening or whatnot.
I think they're just mostly curious, and they're just bored, and they want to, they come from the cemetery, and they're dead, and they just want to follow you home and see what you're going to do all about. And on many occasions, I've had people like this tell me that, wow, now I got a ghost attached to me, and something followed me home, but they usually go return back to the cemetery. So it's just bizarre, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of your partner, I saw you on that Kenny and Spinny show, and it was pretty entertaining. Those guys are funny. And it's funny because this guy is trying to freak out the other dude, by dressing up and pulling different shenanigans and trying to summon up something. And I don't know, it could be all fake or whatever, but it seemed like he kicked something up and it actually scared the shit out of him, so he left early. They were having like a overnight challenge or something.
Yeah, well, Kenny and Skinny was a comedy show that was based on, who could outdo the other person kind of thing. And we went on there, and it was actually a real haunted house that we went on there, and I didn't really even know if I wanted to go on because they were going to make it more, entertaining and more, debunking ghosts and things, and it was more for fun than anything else. But it was really a haunted place that had a real murder of a girl who was killed, and her head was disembodied from her body and she buried somewhere else. So this house that we were actually at in Toronto, we went in and got it, and then they actually deleted some of the real scenes that actually happened to us when we were doing the actual show because they want to make it more funny, I guess, and more related. But there were things that really were happening haunted that freaked them out, and they just like didn't want to include that. But it is a funny show, but it is based on actual reality. So everything that did really happen was real, and they just kind of turned it over, made it funny and hilarious and more of a joke. Which I really respect ghosts, and I don't like doing that to anything. But we went on to make it more of a parody, a fun thing. But a lot of scenes that we actually did have happen were like, lights going off, the candles were lit, we're doing a seance, all the candles blew off. They deleted all that stuff that was actually real. So they made
they didn't even show it. All we saw was you guys doing like the intro and introducing them to the house, and then it was just, them doing their thing.
Yeah, I know, and that was the sad part, because there was a reality thing to it where things were really going on that we couldn't explain, and people were experiencing it, and the drapes were moving, and the wind was flying around, and candles. And you're going, oh, shit, what happened? So it's like, but they turned it into a comedy show. But, I still got on it, but, I mean, I didn't promote it for, like 10 years, because I'm trying to do real things. I'm trying to make it real and make it honest and true. So I finally put it on, Facebook, and we had over a million hits or views from this show. But again, it was for fun and a comedy. It wasn't made to be real. And sadly, we didn't get enough time on it to actually explain the real hauntings that were going on.
Yeah, for sure. I find, or have found in the past, like, if you are in a happy spirit or whatever, you're laughing, not really disrespecting the spirits or, individuals that may be there, but having that upward sort of energy can really attract things and cause a lot of activity.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I was warning them at the time, like, you guys shouldn't really be doing this and disrespecting it. And it got worse. And it got worse as we were going. So the more they said, like, we're gonna screw a ghost and we're gonna have fun and we're gonna bang them and beat the hell out of them. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, who was that guy? Was that Kenny or Skinny? That was dressing up and acting like he was being raped by a ghost or whatever.
Yeah, and they've had a lot of other shows on that are comedy, and they said who can survive the haunted house the longest. I think that was the title of it. But I said, you guys, you just can't do this because it's going to come back at you sooner or later. And it's funny because after the show was done, Kenny was more haunted than anything. He was all kind of at his own house. Things were coming attached to me. He goes, I did that show, and now it's like, holy shit, things are really happening to me. And I go, help me. It's like, you need you guys back for a seance.
You're like, I warned you, buddy.
You did it. So I'm like, you get rid of it.
So that was the guy that was like trying to do things to protect himself?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Was really going on. And after the show, even at his house, and he brought it back. I mean, there's things that were trying to kill me and chasing things with an axe, and I'm like, oh my God. So it was pretty funny, but I mean, you caused it, so you can't just reverse it.
Yeah, and it's funny because he was the one that had, like, more respect, more reverence, and he was trying to do things to protect himself so he'd last longer, and the other guy was the one, you know, causing all the chaos and havoc. I know, it was really funny to watch. It really cracked me up.
If anybody sees it, it is a hilarious episode. It is funny, but you have consequences in the end. So please, anybody, don't do this stuff because you will. It will come back to get you sooner or later.
I wonder how long his haunting lasted. I wonder if it's still happening.
I mean, he called me up like every couple of days. He goes, "Oh my God, Patty, you got to come here and fix this." And you know, you caused this shit, and it's like, oh my God. So like, you know, we did whatever we could. We saged his house, and we fixed this, and we did that, and eventually I calmed down. But I said, you know, you've got to stop doing this stuff. You're pissing off the ghost for sure. And it's like, oh my God, and he was so thankful. He says, thank you. You know, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it can be really scary, especially, you know, if you're more into comedy and not the paranormal and something like this is really happening to you. It could really set you aback, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't play around with this stuff because, I mean, I've always respected the ghosts and spirits when I do investigations or I go to cemeteries or anything. And I'm always like aware and you know, trying to say I'm here. I'm trying to, you know, talk to you and acknowledge you. So I've always been good with that. I've never really had anything happen to me. As long as you, you know, the spirits know why you're there and why you're, you know, here to communicate, and then they're cool with that pretty well.
So when you guys do your tours, do you give, you know, the tour members perhaps like dowsing rods or any sort of tools to use, or you guys just go along, like you said, the folklore and the history behind things and do it that way? Do you guys ever use any sort of tools?
I did bring the K2 meter last night, and it got pretty active, like at the statue. We have a haunted statue, which there is a ghost inhabited named Alfred, and he's pretty active, and he actually does, believe it or not, smoke a cigarette. So we have many times, that's pretty well understood, is that this ghost who is inhabiting a statue that's solid bronze actually smokes a cigarette, believe it or not. And we had him do it last night, and he puffs on it, and he smokes it, and he, you know, puffs it like a regular person, just like you have to draw on it before. There's no other way around it to smoke a cigarette. And we got him doing that last night. Smoke was coming out of his eyes, out of his head, out of his ears, out of the top of his head.
He's like, yeah.
It's pretty bizarre. And anybody can see this on our videos. If you go to Patrick Cross on YouTube videos, you'll see that we've captured this. And it's quite phenomenal that, you know, you can do pretty well anything that you want to do when you're dead, that you were alive. So we captured this many times. We had about 22 people out last night, and they all saw it, and we all felt it, and we all saw him smoke the cigarette. So it was very cool.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've heard people say, oh, well, they're dead, they no longer have a body, so they can't breathe, they can't do this, they can't do that. But I don't think you really have to have a body in order to do these things. You know, you can hear them breathe, you can hear them speak, and other things like that. I don't know. I think anything's possible.
You know, yeah,
on the
true.
other side.
And another investigation, I actually heard ghosts breathe and cough. You know, and they said, well, they died of pneumonia and they cough. And I've actually had that recorded on many occasions too on EVPs. And I've had them do all kinds of stuff that, you know, well, we're sick and they died from their, you know, illness, and they would explain it, and they would actually hear them with those ailments, you know, whether as a ghost. So they carry on to the next dimension, I guess, to, you know, say this is what they had and this is how they died, you know?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because the very first experience I had here at this house, which we have tons of activity here, but the very first time that I realized we had a ghost, I was leaving for work. I was the only one at home, and I'm walking past my bedroom window to get out of the front yard gate, and I hear a man in my bedroom coughing, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm the only one here. Who the hell is in there? And come to find out, the guy, I always call him John, come to find out that was his real name. he died from emphysema. So they kind of carry that over to the other side. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but you know what's weird is because what I think is when you become a ghost, you don't have any more ailment. You become free of all that, disease and stress and everything else going on. So you're supposed to be pure and clean, but they're still having those ailments are showing it when they go on the other side. So it's kind of, why would you still be coughing if you're dead? You're free of your body. You don't have the body anymore. You don't have the disease. Why are you coughing now? It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's very interesting to think about. Why does he still do that?
Or they're maybe
no longer
showing
sick.
you what they have when they died. I don't really know. It's like, why would you? You're dead, so you're free of all the ailments of your body now. You don't have a body anymore, so you're free. You're free spirit. So how come you have lung cancer and you can't breathe anymore? It doesn't make any sense,
Right. And it's funny, if you look at the religious aspect, they say when you go to heaven, you're free of all these elements and you're back to a pure state, the best you've ever been. But these are spirits that are either earthbound or they choose by free will to stay here. And I just kind of wonder, does it become second nature to them or whatnot if you do have emphysema or something like that to have that cough, because that does, perhaps become a part of you. But even the kids have seen them. My daughter's
we don't know. That's a puzzling thing. I mean, I've always thought of that. Like, somebody got shot by a cannonball, and the cannonball goes right through, and the ghost comes through, and he goes, "Yeah, I got killed by a cannonball." He's laughing about it, and there's a giant hole in his chest, but he's laughing. He's thinking, "This is what's cool," and he's dead, and he's telling you what happened. I mean, that would be reminiscent of what happened, but how is he How is he carrying on with a cannonball through his chest? I don't know. It's just, again, I heard that story back from Gettysburg. Some ghost got killed, and he was telling how interesting it was he got killed. He was talking about how he got killed with a cannonball, and it was through his chest, and he had a hole in it.
He's like, "Look, I can put my fist through here."
Yeah, and it was laughing, but it was all fun. Buddy, you just got killed. Why would you talk about that? I don't know. Strange.
Yeah, have you seen those videos? It's pretty interesting. I've seen a couple. There's a couple guys there, and they saw one that looked like he had red hair, fully in uniform, just kind of trudging around. And then there was another one that I saw by somebody else where the ghost seemed to accelerate in speed as it went around the cannons and past the little statue or whatever that's over in that area. But it's pretty intriguing. I wonder if the cannon's about to go off. Do you think he intentionally walked in front of it, or was just in a dumb sense of state and didn't even rationalize what he was doing?
Yeah, I mean, I know people. I know the ghosts show you their past lives and what happened, and the good things and the bad things and everything else. I mean, I've actually seen spirit orbs where they kind of show the progression when they're happy and what happened in their lives. So I mean, why would you delve on something that this is how you died? Yeah, great, we know that, but are you going on? Are you carrying on with your spirit life? Are you now ascending to what you should be, into the light? And this is what I don't really why they have to emphasize it so much. Okay, you have a new life, you're dead. Please go on and there's the light and go to the next level.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Beetlejuice, where different spirits are in different states due to how they passed away and such. It's kind of funny. But yeah, it makes you wonder, why do they stick around? Are they afraid of what's waiting for them on the other side, or what? Because people think it's impossible for spirits to stay here. You automatically either go to heaven or hell. But, I think we have free agency on both sides. And you can choose to stick around or not.
All of us, as we're born and when we die, we all have free will. We can do whatever we want. In the end, we're all judged somehow. I don't know how. But we all have free will to do whatever we want in our lives. So we wish upon to keep reminiscing and rehashing our life when we're dead. I don't know what that means. Why are we recycling what happened? Go on. Your life is over. You did a good life. You did whatever. Why are you showing it? Unless it's a tragedy, unless you were murdered, you were killed, and you have no, solution. You have no closure. That would make sense, yeah, because you have no closure. You want to be closed because you're dead. Somebody killed you, or murder, or something else. But if you died, peacefully, you had a good life. Why are you showing everybody else? And why can't you go on? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, there's so many questions. So what originally got you into the paranormal? Did it start with experiences as a child, or how did you get into this field?
Oh, my God. Well, I grew up in a haunted house. So, I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't aware of it. I was like 6 years old, maybe 10, when I finally got into my other house. And I was not aware of what might have surrounded me. I didn't know what happened. So, my parents bought a house. My father thought it was a great deal. He bought a murder house, basically a house that was,
oh shit,
at that time, somebody killed. Basically, what happened was this guy was dating a girl from that house, the daughter of the parents. And the parents didn't want him to see him anymore. And he got fed up and said, "That's it. I'm going to kill the girl. Because if I can't have anybody, I can't have anybody at all in my life. I can't have anyone. If I can't have you, I'll just kill you." And that's what he basically did. He chopped up the girl, killed her with an axe, killed the parents, and put all the body parts around the house. And then that's where it's all started. My dad bought this murder house. The guy was eventually convicted, put away for life. His name was Greg Barrett in Toronto, Canada, and he was deemed mentally insane, and I think he's still in jail to this day. And it was a big story back in the 1970s. Me and my dad been inheriting this house that thought it was great, and next thing you know, we have all kinds of, not only that, ghost activity, but the land it was built on was all buried over and run over. It was an Indian land. They just took it over and ran it over and put houses on it. So you have not only the land that was sacred and haunted by the Indians, you have now a murder house where a guy killed someone and running around, and all this stuff was happening. So I didn't know what to do. I was really young. I didn't know how to experience all this, and nobody was telling me. And my dad was like, a very devout Christian, Bible thumper. "Oh, I don't believe in ghosts. I slept in the cemeteries in the war. Oh, nothing happened to me." And all this stuff. Like, yeah, really. But Dad, there's like things going on in the hallway and things walking down the hallway. I don't think that relates to that. It's like, holy shit. So, I had to deal with that for like 18 years. And it was like, holy shit. It just got worse and worse and worse. And the more things I challenged, the more things happened. So, we had a 3-bedroom house. We had a lower level. We had a basement. We had a rec room. And things were always coming through, like touching the doors, opening the doors, sounds, voices, walking, creeping, footsteps. Oh, my God. It's like, this was like a movie. This was even before anything was on television. I even have an organ that was playing by itself when it wasn't even plugged in. I was like, holy fuck. It's like, what the hell is going on here? It's like, it's like you can't comprehend it when you're a kid. And there's just no explanation. And nobody's going to help you. And it's just like shit was going on all the time. And then things were walking in the walls and walking through the ceilings and climbing through the walls and like hands and creepy things that, you'd never think of. And then it would eventually happen on television because they would interview us and say, well, and that's how it got on TV, because the only way they could figure it out, all that stuff was real, was talking to us, because that's how it became, on Poltergeist was the main movie that came out that showed all this. So to this day, I still can't figure it out. The house I grew up in, it's still haunted. I went back several times, and I went with psychics, and I've actually heard the psychics, don't come back, don't come here. We've literally tried to record EVPs around those, said don't even come and attempt here, because we'll come back for you. So it's it's a very stressful. I'm an older man, and I'm very stressed to even think that. Why do I keep going back there, and why would I want to acknowledge what happened, and why do I want to keep going? But there's this
rehashing
whole fear, and this whole fear, and this whole excitement about, well, what if, kind of going on.
So you we're talking about different things that you heard. Did you ever see any of them?
Yeah, I mean, I would see. It's hard to explain because when you see it, nobody else does. They think you're nuts. Okay, and I've learned this from a long time, and when all the stories I've done, when you see a black giant figure coming down your hallway and there's no other explanation why, and it's coming to you, and it walks right through you, or walks into your bedroom, and scares the shit out of you as a kid, you really want to ponder on why, what the hell went on, and what does it want, and why is it here? So that being said, I mean, I had a lot of those experiences. My parents would lock their doors. Oh, ghosts don't exist. And I'm like faced with, great, here comes the demon after me. Stuff like that. And then the worst thing was, like I had you have wooden closets when you're growing up. I guess that's what it was. Heavy wooden closets, the doors open and close, but they're wood. They're heavy. You can't just open them and close them. So, I was having clothes, and usually around 2 or 3 in the morning, the bloody thing, the doors would open up, and you'd see these little eyes about 4 feet tall, from the ground, looking at you, just staring at you, little bright red eyes. And oh my God, what's going on here? And the doors are wide open, and I'm a kid. So I'm going, I close the doors, and I just, cover my face and cover up the covers and think it's all going to go away.
The blanket
and
shield.
This happens quite a lot.
It works miraculously.
Like, what do you do, right? And it's like, that thing is that you tell your parents to go, I don't see any ghosts. You tell your dad and you freak out and go, lose something in my closet. Sure.
Kill it!
Comes like, what's wrong with you? Get away. Get a life, get a girlfriend, things have been going on all the time, So my bedroom was the most haunted place in the world, I think, because it was always cold. It would be 80 degrees in the summertime. My whole wall on the side of the wall was freezing cold, and it was frozen. It was just like phenomenal. What mist coming up from the floors, ghost mist and sounds and whispers, and that damn closet always opening and seeing the eyes looking at you, peering out. It was just, oh my God. That's what happened to me.
It's funny that you say that. We actually lived in an A-frame up in Tween Lakes, and I remember one day pulling into the driveway, and it was, beginning of winter, and you can see the beams. So there's a beam going down and then a beam going across, and all the rooms were melted away except for the room that my daughter used to stay in, where she often spoke about Mommy E and Baby E, and she called them that because they made the E sound. That was pretty creepy. Wow. But it was amazing that it kept that lower temperature, like you said, even in the summer when don't go upstairs because we don't have AC, it's really fucking hot up there, her room would always be cool.
Well, I mean, my whole wall, the side of the wall of the house, I mean, I eventually realized that that's where the bodies were buried. When this guy killed everybody and buried them around the walls of the house. So it was always cold, and I was always hearing screams and yelling, and a casket or a sort of, what do you call it? A big trunk was being dragged across the floor downstairs, and it was screeching, and everything. A woman was screaming, and my parents never heard anything. And I said, "Don't you hear that? Don't you hear what's going on?" They're like, "We're just like bombarded with these fucking like ghosts and screams and everything." I don't know, we hear another. And it's like, maybe I'm open, maybe I was psychic. I don't know. It was just like, oh my God, I hear this all the time. I'm going, don't you hear these the axe chopping bodies parts out? In the face. And it's
oh
like,
my God.
No, we don't hear anything. It's like, oh my, I go down there. It's like, holy shit, there was blood everywhere. All on the benches everywhere. And my parents would just like knock it off. They go, well, I don't know what's happening. We don't see it.
Go back to bed, damn it.
Yeah. And I literally, like, in those days, you had those old cameras that you could take a picture of,
Polaroid?
the Kodak ones, and you put the film in, and it comes out, and you have to shake it, and then maybe see it as a ghost picture. I mean, that's the only thing we had to collaborate in. And I'm going, oh my God, hurry up, take that picture. And half the time it wouldn't even show up.
Did you have siblings?
Pardon?
Did you have siblings, or were you an only child?
Oh, my brother saw it too. My brother.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he was in a different bedroom, but that was the one that was open to the attic. And he'd swear to God, he'd say, I see things coming from the attic. My door would open. I see stuff come in. He'd freak out. We're both screaming at night. My parents go, oh, yeah, right. They have bad dreams.
Quit eating sugar right before you go to bed. It causes nightmares.
Yeah, it was like a bad dream. It was like, oh, yeah, I just go to bed. Like, oh, my God. And I have to do this all night. Not all night. Not just like, the witching hour starts and you're going, what am I going to do all night? How am I going to protect? I literally had spears and guns and fishing rods ready to kill something because I didn't know what else to get to protect me. That's how bad it was. Mm-hmm. I was like, holy shit, I'm getting armored. That's it. I'm ready to go. I didn't know what to do. I swear to God. And I mean, you're a kid. You're growing up, and you go, I live with this 18 years. And, finally I left the house. My parents sold it and everything. But, I mean, it still haunts me. All this stuff that went on. I still have dreams about it. What was
Do you
going
feel
on.
like you got a form of, like, paranormal PTSD? That's what I call it. I'll stay up really late.
Yeah, and it's like, if I think about it, I really can't sleep at night. I can't. And I'm like, this is like 20 years later, and I just can't. Because it has affected me so much. I mean, I've done major ghost tours. I've done demon encounters. And my childhood affects me more than anything else.
Yeah, it seems like today it's easier for us to handle, but growing up as kids, you don't want to go to sleep because you don't know what's going to happen, and you get this weird sleep schedule. My husband has always hated that I stay up till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I can't change this. And I had a counselor tell me, well, why don't you try going to bed earlier and getting up earlier? Bitch, I went to school for how many years? Had to get up early every morning. It did not matter what time I got up in the morning. I still could not go to sleep at a reasonable hour.
Yeah, I've heard that from many people. Like, even with people who have alien abductions, they've had the same thing. They can't sleep. They're insomnia. They just can't sleep because of all the things that happen. They regress. And the sad part is the medical field doesn't acknowledge this, and they don't accept it. Of what you went for trauma, what happened and what things really did happen. And there's so many people have had this. So it isn't like, going away. It isn't like that you just had it and that was it. They're focused on, well, what's really wrong with you? If you got diabetes or arthritis, they don't care about your ghost stuff, your alien experiences, even though you've got implants all over you and your body is weeping out with blood and everything, implants coming off your skin. It's like, oh, yeah, you got it right. They don't acknowledge anything. And I've had that happen. I've had implants. I've been abducted. I've had all this stuff. And it's like...
Did that happen when you were younger? Did it start as a kid, or did it happen later on?
Probably the last 10 years, because when I was older, I mean, I still have my implant in my finger. I mean, it still grows out. It's a filament, and I can prove it. I've had it with it. I've even had Dr. Roger Lear acknowledge that I've had implants in me, and I've had an implant in my nose, and I've had it proven. But the medical industry doesn't acknowledge it. They said, well, you're just dreaming or making it up. But it's real because I still had this experience. How can I do it, and how can I get away from it? I mean, I'm not, physically being abducted now or anything, but I was tracked for many years for releasing information that I shouldn't have, which I didn't even know about because my dad worked in
Patrick.
my father worked at NASA. He knew everything. He was a part of underground operation of UFOs and reverse technology. And he worked on reverse engines for UFOs, developing them in the 1960s. So my father was very much involved with that. And I was tracked for many years from the Men in Black. We're saying cease and desist, stop doing this. And these guys would appear with no license plate, no thing, a black car.
Were they the really big Nordic dudes or somebody else?
They really look plastic. They really look like you could put your finger on them with
like a freaking mannequin, mask. Like really pale and
placid.
And
I was told this, and I said, if you keep it up, you will be deceased. And they told me that, and I, and going, well, I stopped doing that. I mostly do ghosts because that's the more real thing I can relate to. But for a hell of a time, for like maybe 10 years, I was constantly chased by Men in Black, the government, Canada, the government of USA. I would go down to Las Vegas. I would go down to UFO, areas, Area 51. I had access, and I knew what was going on. And they said, you can't be here. You cannot be here because we will exterminate you. And that was, they told us that with guns pointing to our heads. So it was very real and very scary. And this happened, oh my God, I was in Vegas like 2 years ago. And they said, you're one shot away from being killed. And that's what they told us. The U.S. Army told us that.
Did you see that YouTube channel? I think it's called UFOs over Vegas. And this guy's got so much footage. It's insane. Like, there's all kinds of activity there.
Well, I mean, we would literally go down and humper down, take a Jeep and go into the area, go in the mountains. And we'd humper down and, watch everything with binoculars and record everything with binoculars and all kinds of video stuff. And a lot of time, most of the time, we never got detected, but we walked out with some amazing, just phenomenal footage of UFOs flying in, stopping in midair, 100 feet above you, triangles, everything, just stopping and going and flying off to the UFO basis. And, it's just like out of the movies. And we documented it all. And thank God we never got caught most of the time because we were careful. But there's many times helicopters would be coming in, black helicopters, unmarked, I was flying in and saying, looking for us and searchlights and saying, what are you doing out here, So it's very scary. It's very real. And they're really out to stop anyone who wants to know information and if they apprehend you, I don't know what they would do. I have been caught on several occasions. Said you got to leave. You can't be here, and if you do, we're going to be shot on sight. And they had the full authority of that. So I left. I went back to Vegas, played casinos, but it's like I'm not going to be shot today. I'm going back.
I'm just going to go lose all my money. And I saw that one guy.
I can't complain. Vegas to me, I have friends and I have a lot of people I go down and I visit. I visit some MGM. I know a lot of people down there. I know what's the guy's name? The magician there, David
Chris
Copperfield.
Angel.
I hang around him. I have a lot of people I
Chris
hang
Angel
around
Mind Freak.
That go shows. Yeah, and I've known Chris Angel for many years. So I always go down and visit, and it's fun, and I'll take down 2 weeks, and and we do a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of things that would go on, but we've definitely gone out and investigated things you just cannot explain and not talk about, for sure.
There's so much activity in Vegas. We actually got a really good deal at Circus Circus. I'm pretty good at finding good deals online. We were there during the week, and it was insane, how cheap this room was. But every night, I would hear this woman screaming, and, I started to push my ear up against the wall, and my husband's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I hear a woman screaming. Don't you hear her screaming? And it kind of reminded me of that video where they went in and the room was, totally tore up, but they heard a woman, screaming bloody murder. But I felt bad, because, nobody else heard it, and I'm like, if there's really somebody over there in trouble, I should have reported it. But I think it was some, sort of residual activity or whatnot going on over there, because I was the only one to be privy to it or to hear it. Nobody else heard it.
Yeah. I mean, there definitely is a lot of hotels that are haunted, sure, and have a residual. I mean, the old the Pioneer stuff that closed down, and the Sands and all those areas that are still there, even though the place is closed. Or, you can go there with an EVP and record stuff, and there's all kinds of things you'll pick up. Phenomenal stuff down there. So, I mean, I love Vegas. I mean, I have family in Vegas, so I mean, I go there all the time.
Do you do paranormal investigating down there?
Oh yeah, I mean, I have a whole bunch of friends and people, and I actually go to Reno, where my family is. I go to Sparks, Nevada. So they're pretty into it, and that's where not far from there is the original Tombstone, cemetery that was famous on TV and everything. That's haunted as shit over there. We got all kinds of stuff there. So when they go places, that's the place to be. Tombstone. They call it Arizona, but it's actually Vegas. So, Tombstone in Reno in Nevada is this phenomenal stuff. And that was one of the oldest settling Western cemeteries that I know of. That was
That's crazy, because I thought it was in Arizona, too. What the crack?
Yeah, but it's just like phenomenal stuff that you can check out. I think a lot of places have different tours going on that I've been there. And, it's just oh shit, this is stuff that's going on all the time. I mean, I was there for like on my aunt's place. This was back in 2018, and we would literally hear UFOs going over our house. Come on out, watch the UFOs. Like, holy shit, and this is Reno, Nevada. It's like, and it's all by the Sierra Mountains. They go, yeah, it happens all the time. The UFOs love it. They just come right out, fly right over, and hover everywhere. We were taking all kinds of photos. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like fantastic stuff. And they thought nothing of it. It was like an air show or something. It was just a bit bizarre.
Yeah, it was crazy. Some of the videos I saw of UFOs in Vegas, you see them going along the mountain lines like they're searching for something or someone, and then you see them over houses, and they'll get like right above the house, and then you see this bright light come out of the house, and I think they're actually getting footage of people being abducted. It's pretty freaky, because they'll come back later, and then the light goes back into the house, and then it flies away. It's pretty scary.
No, we had them like literally 100 feet away from our house. I would swear I could just watch them and just look at them. That's how close they were. In triangles, different objects, all colors, just hanging around, and then they're floating, just zip out, just take off. It was like a nightly night show. It's just like totally bizarre. And I'm going, wow, I can't believe it. How close we are getting all this stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed, but since COVID, the whole COVID outbreak, I don't know if it's because we were on lockdown, everybody had to be home. A lot of people are staring at their phones or watching TV, but I'd go out in my yard and just look around, and there's been, so many sightings for me, but all over the world there's stuff going on, and it's just like they don't really care that people can see them. I think they want to be seen.
Well, it's the time of disclosure is coming to that point. Like now the government is actually, the U.S. government and Canadian government is actually acknowledging that, UFOs are real. They're actually disclosing that. They're actually declassifying everything and saying, yeah, it's real. Like, well, how come you held it on for 50 years? You knew this was happening, and you're still going on, well, now we're going to disclose it. Well, thanks a lot. And they're acknowledging it, so they're not letting it all out to let people know. So, where's that at? Like, how come we now obviously know everything? I don't understand it either.
I think it's because something really big is about to happen, so they're like, all right, you got Ancient Aliens and all this other stuff on the Discovery Channel. Aliens in Alaska, that's the one that I was watching recently. So many crazy things going on with that. It reminded me of your implant story. This guy went out on his snowmobile, and he's going to go hunting for wolves, he said. And he felt something like somebody shot him with a BB or whatever in the leg, and he's like, ow, like, what the hell? And he felt the whole time like somebody was watching him. And there is a doctor that does implant removals for people. And I don't know if he went and saw that specific doctor, but he did see a doctor who seemed really surprised at the x-rays. The radiologist said that, the implant was close enough to the skin that he could safely remove it. And this guy had this implant in his body for over 20 years, and they removed it. And it's funny the way they work, because when it was in his body, they used this radio frequency detector, put it up to his leg, and it was amping up to like 14 or 15. When all around the room it was 3 or 4. But as soon as they removed it, it just kind of went dormant. I don't know if it, kind of cohesively like interacts with your body and your heartbeat or the electricity within you. And once you take it out and put it into a bottle, it's just like cease and desist sort of thing.
That's cool, because Roger Lear took out mine, and he said this thing is active. It was actually sending out frequencies. When I was taking out my implant, my main implant that I had in my hand for many years, we could literally hear like things and digitally going, like frequencies going off it, sending out signals of something. And thank God I took it out, but I put it in a bottle. I put it in a glass. I still have it, but it became dormant after I took it out and put it away, stored it in a glass bottle. But it was definitely sending out frequencies, and a very, very active. That it was. He said, "This is alive. This is definitely sending out something to track you." So I was a little shocked, but I mean, I still have the probe. I still have this little. It's like a little square with a little antenna on it. It's totally bizarre. It's like the most
freaking weird
thing, and you can hear. Well, you could hear little frequencies going off and going. It was just like, oh my God! I was like in a movie, and luckily I still have it. I kept it, but it's not active because it's not in my body anymore.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. I wonder if you were to take it out of that jar and like place it on your hand or whatever, if it would reactivate just because of your electricity in your body. That'd be an interesting little experiment to do.
It might. I mean, it might, but I'm scared because I
you don't want them to come back. They're like, look who just came back on the.
It's evidence, but I just don't want to like go on, activate it again or something like that.
Yeah, I want to ask you more about that. Continue with what you're saying.
It's the most bizarre thing because I would always sense something, and then something would be in my room. It wasn't like a ghost. I could feel an alien presence in my room when it was in an implant in me. So it was very real. I mean, something was watching over me, like eyes and a big face. And it would just say to me, go to sleep, So, I mean, I was very active. And it would wake up to this day. I still have, I have marks on my temples on either side. I have pin marks, needle marks that they actually, I still remember. I can't remember anything. I would be, brought up to a ship, and I'll have, implants put into my temples, and they would do something to me. I don't know what. And, I have the pin marks. I have the needle marks still on my temples. And then I'd return to my bed, and I wouldn't remember anything. And this hasn't happened for a while, but I had it for so long.
So far as you know.
These actual reminiscent, the fact that there were needles going into my temple on either side. The pin marks. And I show it to people, and I go, holy shit, what is that? It's like, well, I can't verify because I can't remember, but I know I was abducted like many times, like over the couple of years, even like recently. I feel like the last Christmas, these things were on me, and I would wake up and was like, oh my God, it's so sore on my temple. You could just feel this pin mark, the needle going right into your, right in the side of your head. And I'm like, oh, holy cow. Thank God it hasn't happened for a while, but I still do not remember or regret anything to this day.
Yeah, have you thought about doing any sort of regression so you can remember, or are you okay with not remembering?
I do, but I want to be more freaked out than I am. It's like people say, well, you should go regressing and all. It's like, good, look, I'm a ghost hunter. I got enough problems as it is, So I just,
You're like, I don't want to dig this hole any
mean,
deeper. I'm all good.
Yeah, I don't want to be more problematic. Well, you've been abducted, knew this, and it's like, even psychics who I don't know have picked up that I've been abducted, and people are the real ones have said, "Well, this has happened to you. This happened to you," and I go, "Yeah, well, thank you for acknowledging it." So, I really don't want to go into regressive state. I just don't want to know because it has so many problems, and I think it's going to affect me more than what I do in a daily job. I just can't deal with this right now. It's like, what am I going to do?
But it is kind of nice at the same time that somebody sees it and acknowledges it, because like you said before, it makes you feel like you're crazy because it's just affecting you, or like you said before, your brother or whoever else, your parents totally denied it. I don't know. I have a feeling like your mom knew, but she was kind of, under your dad's thumb, so she didn't want to say anything. She didn't want to ruffle the feathers or whatnot, so she just kind of stayed silent about the whole thing.
My mom knew a lot, and she'd tell me, but she didn't want it exactly because my dad was, no, that didn't happen, even though he knew things were happening, So my mom would know, and she was more psychic. So I've had that ability for many, oh my God, since I was a kid, I've had the ability of being psychic and seeing things. I'm more clairvoyant, clear audio than anything else.
Right.
Now, I mean, even with all the stuff I do, I can hear things and people just go talking to me out of nowhere. They'll just have a major conversation and contact me, and I can record it and tell everybody, and that's exactly what they just said. So I'm more, I pick up energy, more clairvoyant, but I really don't want to get. The more you're open to it, the more you, the more you attract, right?
Yeah.
And
you're like a beacon.
I'm trying to be somewhat neutral because I don't want these ghosts keep coming to me and go, "Oh wow, it's right," and they all know me on the other side.
Hi, Patrick.
It's even funny because they go, "Yeah, hi, Patrick, I'm talking to you," and they're all dead. It's like, oh my God, they know me from the other side. It's like I've done a ghost investigation the last couple of months ago. Like, hi, can I please speak to Patrick? I was like, holy shit. And then they're just talking away.
Go ahead.
Like, they know me. It's like, it was great. I'm glad I'm known the celebrity wise on the other side. Too.
Right? They're like, we know who you are, Patrick.
Pardon?
They're like, we know who you are,
Sorry?
Patrick.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't even know who they are, and they know you're ready. So it's like, I guess I'm great for being dead, when I go there.
Well, on that note, we do have to go to our first music break.
Yeah.
So on this break, we have Miss Mia Savage, who is originally from Phoenix, Arizona, but now lives here in the lovely La Plata County. Actually, Durango. Between Durango and Bayfield. Bayberry is what I like to call it. But she's going to be singing to Your Grave, Our New Reality, and Bury Me in Heaven. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break. Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight we have Mr. Patrick Cross on, and we are talking about the paranormal, aliens, UFOs, all this other crazy shenanigans going on. Boo. I'm wondering what he's doing. I think he slept off his drunkenness from last night, and now he's coming back to life to take another round on... Do you guys feed him, like, cheap alcohol? What does he drink? You said vodka. So is it, like, bottom shelf vodka? Does he really care?
Well, he doesn't really care. It's just like, it's weird because I didn't even know this was happening. So I would have a beer beside him because I was, drinking. We were going over stuff and things like that at my friend's house. And the beer can would be sitting there. And, I hear this. We'd start recording this. Let's record Boo. And he'd be going, ooh. And he'd be sipping all my beer. I go, you little bastard. He'd be drinking all my beer. So I go to drink it. It was half gone. And seriously, I'm going, what the hell's going on? He's drinking all my beer. So I go, okay, you can have your own alcohol. We're going to give you vodka, And he's a violent kind of ghost guy. It's just really weird. He's a real ghost. Honestly, he died. He's about 39 years old. He's a middle-aged man, very angry, and he died. And he somehow became a ghost inside this vessel of a black doll. It was an 1800s doll. And it's just so bizarre. I said, well, and he's very mean. He's just got this whole thing about life, and he wants to kill people and do things and destruction. And it's like, we try to talk to him, and he's only happy. He destroys things and blows things up, and we've seen it. And we try to control him, and the only thing to control him is he loves his vodka. So we start giving him vodka, and he literally drinks it down. We put a little shot glass. We'll fill it up, and he drinks it down, and he loves it because it keeps him calm. So
I have a little pointer for you. Make sure when you're giving him vodka, you're not doing, that really cheap shit. Because if he is an angry drunk, that cheap shit is going to make him even more angry. So give him some good stuff. The higher dollar stuff, it won't affect him so negatively.
I've given him expensive stuff. So it's like, he doesn't really do anything. But it's just funny because he won't do anything to us. But if he has revenge on his mind, he'll just go and destroy things. Like he blew up the garage that, my friend was at when he first started, when we first got him. Like basically he's from a home with other haunted dolls. And when my friend Sudi ordered him and got him, he basically didn't like his environment and blew up her garage that went like
holy
crazy.
Shit.
The whole thing was gone. And then he blew up her stove. It's like the whole stove went.
What the fuck?
Christmas. So I was like,
what did she do?
What the hell? And she didn't do anything. And we're trying to find out about it. And he goes like, well, he just would tell us, he needs a beer, and he's like blowing up things. So it's like whenever we want to do something, to get revenge, he'd go and do it. So I guess she was having problems with her landlord, in last summer, and was like, the guy wasn't doing stuff for her and cleaning the stuff and, doing, what do you call it? Cutting the grass. So she said, okay, that's enough. Boo, go blow him up. And she blew up his lawnmower. It was hilarious.
That's what you get.
Fucking hilarious. I was going, oh my God. So,
he was not maintaining the property.
Yeah, so, then another thing, we said, okay, I was driving in Burlington. I was driving to work, and I was pissed off because the lights were taking so long. So I going, Boo, so do something. So sooner or later, right after that, this car goes flying into, a light post and blows up. And Boo says he did it. And I go, oh my God. And I had on video and everything. He goes, yeah, I got pissed off. I didn't want to wave the lights. And blew them up.
Is that on your...
and I got it on video.
Is that on your YouTube channel?
It's just... Yeah. And it's on my Facebook page. I'm Patrick Cross. And it's like, holy shit. And I got the whole video, everything, and blowing up the car, and the car goes up, and he's laughing about it in the car. And it's like, I got this on video. And you're like, oh my God. So every time we want him to do something to get revenge, he goes and does it. It's just like, he's getting pretty popular that day. It's pretty popular now, and he's going all the, Boo, if you're going to do on a tour, just don't blow up anything. It's like hilarious.
Yeah, don't blow up any patrons or, anything like that. Just get along with everybody, could you?
We come down with, we have to give him alcohol when he comes home. It's like hilarious. It's like, oh my God, this guy's like out of control. He goes, yeah, thanks for my alcohol. And he even tells me, I go to the washroom and take a leak, right? And this is funny. He goes, yeah, we got him on VP saying, yeah, he's taking a leak. I need my beer. I need my vodka. And he says this on EVP. oh my God, it's hilarious. And we got that record. I think it's on my Facebook page. It's hilarious.
He's like, just give me my alcohol and everybody will be okay.
Yeah. It's like, yo, Wes, stand up, stand back, because they're okay. But give me my beer and my drink. It's hilarious. I still can't figure it out. It's the most haunted, screwed up doll I've ever had. We have other.
Are you saying you've had dolls before, Patrick? Because we might have another issue going on here. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, okay, I am a man, yes, but I have haunted dolls. I had Savannah. Savannah was my first haunted doll.
Oh, yeah, I remember her.
And she came from Georgia, in the States, and she's haunted. And for the longest time, I swear to God, I never, I had the story about her and everything else, and she would do stuff and, reappear and appear in different things and areas. And I kept her in this box because I was so scared of her, I wouldn't let her out for a year. And I got her in 2017. And I said to my friend, Sudi, I said, I'm going to bring this haunted doll over, and she's going to cause major shit because she just wants to be let out of the box because I was so scared. She was banging the box and trying to get out all the time and yelling at me and everything else. So I took her over there with her other haunted dolls, and she's perfectly fine. She doesn't do anything. And she's from Savannah, Georgia. Her name's Savannah. She's a gorgeous doll. Okay, and the weirdest thing is her eyes will actually change from plastic to human. And you can see it on my Facebook page. And it's like, oh, my God. I would literally see her eyes change, and she would turn from, doll to human eyes. And I'm going, oh, my God. So, lately she's been fine. She's okay over at her place, at my friend's place. Sudi is the girl I work with. And she's fine. Nothing happens over there. But when I was over here, she was, banging on the box and jumping and banging things and trying to get out and swearing, I'm going to kill you when I come out, and all kinds of stuff was going on. And now she's fine.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to kill you when I get out of here, motherfucker.
Yeah.
How dare you put me in this box?
I know, and I had a cross. I literally had a bronze cross inside the box to cover her up. She bit the cross up completely. Literally bites. You can see little bites.
Like she chewed it up?
She chewed it all up, yeah. And then I took it over to her place, and he goes, oh, she's fine. She didn't do anything. It's like, oh, yeah, right. So if I lock her up in a box again, she's going to kill me. It's like, oh, my God, you can have her.
That's what cracks me up about the whole, doll that they have, or used to have over at, holy shnikes, Lorraine and Ed Warren's house. I think it's still there, and they have to do blessings over it all the time. It's in a plexiglass box. You would think like bulletproof glass or something like that for a demon or whatever the hell is in there, but a plexiglass box. So what sort of box did you use on her?
Mm-hmm. It's just bizarre how these things happen, and it's like, I believe it's really true, and I've known other things have happened, so I don't know how to deal with that. So I'm just like, okay, you're haunted, get away from me. Just leave. It's like, go away.
You do exist. I believe in you. Please leave me alone.
Yeah, just go on somebody else. And the weird part is, Boo, okay, he's at her house. He doesn't bug the other haunted dolls, right? He doesn't say anything to them. They're all scared of him. But he doesn't, they're pretty, getting along, okay? So it's like, I don't know what's going on here. It's like, oh my shit. It's like, if it happens, it happens. So it's, but when we take him out on tours, he just gets going. He loves listening to AC/DC and Deep Purple, by the way. So it's like he's a heavy metal rocking evil doll. It's like, yeah.
Well, it's funny because you have pictures here on your Facebook page, and one picture, and when you said he was black, I was like, what? I thought I really didn't distinguish a color at the moment, but the picture that I saw looked like he was white, and there was another post that you did on September 22nd where you have a picture of him with a Ouija board, and then you have another picture of him. In one picture, he looks white, or, maybe Latino or something. He's got a little, olive skin tone. And then the other picture, he looks totally black. I think he just kind of changes his colors sometimes. It's pretty interesting.
Well, he is an actual black doll. I mean, maybe the photos have changed, or he changes it. But
yeah, it's so weird.
From the 1800s. He is an original 1800s doll. He's a black doll, but we kind of like dress him up to be, different things, and Rasta and hats.
He's
and
very
stuff.
Handsome. Very handsome guy.
But everybody's in love with Boo, and we called him Boo because he always went, he drinks and he goes, my name is Boo, and he drinks, and he always said it, so we just called him Boo. And it was just like fucking weird because this is the weirdest thing, and he'd always tell us what he wants to do, or when he's drinking, he just wants to go and do shit. It's just like, okay, I need more alcohol, I'm gonna go do stuff tonight. So it's like, okay, go ahead. It's like, so we got his videos captured of him doing stuff when he's drinking. It's just like bizarre.
Has he ever said exactly who he is, from what time era he came from? Do you know what his story is?
Well, we don't really know. I think we try to get it out of him just to talk to him on a regular basis. Said, okay, we know you're dead, you're not here, and he's very mean, he's miserable, and he just said, I think he's from Alaska, and
he's
all
angry.
We know is he's about
very
39.
Angry.
He's an older man. He's about 39 years old, and he is very intelligent, but he loves swearing. He goes, yeah, screw you. Thanks for telling me. And I'm going to go and drink some more. And it's like, we got this on video or on GPs, and he'll only talk to you for a short time because he gets bored and he wants his drinks. And we still, why are you so mean? We've asked him all these questions. Why are you so bad? And he just doesn't want to talk. And I said, you're dead. So you can, now you live your life and acknowledge what happened. He doesn't want to do that. We still don't know. He's so stubborn. He doesn't tell us, honestly. And he just wants to cause shit. So the more he cause shit, he just enjoys it. So we send him out to do evil things if we have, bad people against us for a bad day, and he goes and destroys them. It's like Power Rangers or something. Boo, go do this, and he goes and kills. Yeah, and he goes and just does stuff, and he comes back, and it's all true what happened. So it's like, oh great, thanks for telling us.
He's like, I'm gonna go fuck some shit up real quick. You guys just stay here, hold down the fort. I'll be back shortly.
And that's what it is. And he's fine with that. He just goes and destroys things and blows things up, and he causes a car accident and crashes.
I think he's a closet pyro. He's a pyro. Totally.
Yeah, Mr. Pyro. It's like we had that on our site, and he loves being promoted as being pyro. He likes starting fires. Like, oh fuck, It's like, holy shit.
He's like, now I'm Rastafarian. I'm going to light up all these joints. Who wants to partake with me? Let's go.
He's kind of like the equalizer of the haunted doll world, It's like, I'm just going to go and kill everybody.
That's so funny.
We've got a lot of people following us for this because they think he's like a mafia boo or something. It's hilarious. A mafia doll.
He's like, I am an OG, original G from back in the, I don't know, I feel like it was the mid 1800s is where he came from. But yeah, he's like, I'm going to mix this shit up. You guys, watch this. Just like that, you were talking about earlier, that car accident, this car comes by, wrecks into a fucking light post and stuff. Like, oh my God. Boo! You're out of control. Have you ever thought of taking him to counseling or something?
And it's like the most bizarre thing, because it's like it happens. I tell him right away, and I record it all, and then he comes back and says, thanks. Thanks. Yeah, I really blew it up. He tells us, too. It's like, holy shit, The guy... nobody else.
He's like, did you see the size of that boom?
Sorry?
So was everybody okay in that car accident?
Yeah, the guy survived. He ran away, but
That's
just
good.
like, how does this happen right after you tell him? And it's like he does it, and even says he does it. Yeah, I just blew up the car. I don't know, problem.
He's like, you see that shit? Yeah, I'm the original OG. Better recognize. Give me some more vodka, bitch.
Mafiosa. Wants to be a mafia doll or something, because he's always the one thing like, yeah, I'll get it done. I'll kill you. Yeah, no problem. It's hilarious, and we keep giving him alcohol because it's like the only way to calm him down. He doesn't do anything else.
That is interesting. Okay, so there's happy drunks, anger drunks, whatever. He's angry if he does not get alcohol. So this is a completely different theory there. He's like, just give me some booze. I'll be okay.
He's fine when he's sedated and he's drinking, but if he doesn't have his alcohol, well, all hell breaks loose. I have to literally go and buy a bottle because he'll just cause shit and just blow things up even more. It's like, I need my beer and then me alcohol. It's like, holy shit.
So I'm thinking back to that story you were telling about that guy that went and killed his girlfriend and family, and I remember watching a video on the Ewu crew. What is it called? I want to say Expeditions, whatever. It's Ewu, EWU, and they told the story about this girl that met this guy online, so I'm thinking this might not be the same story, but it sounds very familiar to, like, the story you were telling about your house. She met this guy online, they totally fell in love. He was a lot older than her. They met up at, like, a slasher sort of, a rock concert. And then afterwards, she left and went back to her friend's house, and then he ended up there later on, chopped up her friend and her family. And even somebody had called 911, and they went and checked, and he answered the door. Everything seemed fine. They searched the house. They didn't find anything, but like you said, he had put the parts that he displaced from these people in the walls. And so eventually he left, and the house started to get rancid. It started to stink really bad. And the cops came back and eventually found the evidence. Like, they looked several times before, at least 3 times before, never found anything. Then eventually they did. And I believe this was in Canada as well.
Wow.
I don't know. Pretty fucking creepy, and it's crazy because this is kind of the same story that you had in your house, but this happened in the 70s, like you said, and I think this one was in the early 90s, so it's weird how things kind of repeat themselves.
Well, my story was, brought down from actual happenings from the police and everything else, but there was no internet in those days. There was no texting. It was just, your own landline on a phone on a wall. But my dad didn't really care about it. Even though the thing is, he wanted a good deal. He didn't care. In those days, he didn't really, if somebody died or killed in your house, nobody really cared. Now it's called stigmatized. So if somebody gets killed in your house or murder or something, you have to actually disclose that. You have to tell people, my house is a murder house or murder or killing or something. So you have to sell that. But in those days, they all covered it up. It was hush, hush, hush. Oh yeah, here's the house. Yeah, some guy got killed, but who cares? And they just buy it. So being young and being innocent, being a kid, I mean, I didn't know what was going on, but I found out all the facts from later on in the newspapers in the 1970s of what really happened. And it was truly one of the haunted horrors of where I lived growing up. So it was pretty decimating to me. To this day, I still have nightmares about all the things going on in the house, and even all the other things that were attracted to the house, being on an ancient, being on Indian ground and sacred ground of burial Indians that were just buried over to build houses.
Yeah, it's crazy because my grandma's house. Okay, so after my mother, she knew how she was going to die. She knew when. She told my grandpa. He was mad at first, but then he helped her plan her funeral. Isn't that weird? Like, I don't know anybody else that has ever planned their own funeral, but my mom did. But yeah, their house they bought from a JCPenney catalog, erected it on this property. They had a barn. Actually, I think they had two. One was really big, one was kind of small, more for the chickens than the cows and horses. Basically cows and donkey. But yeah, all the activity that happened there, because it was a burial ground, was super freaky to me. I saw the devil in the same room that my mother saw the devil, and I also saw kobolds, which look a lot like gremlins, but their ears are a little smaller than gremlins. But yeah, so much activity on native burial grounds. It's insane. And here, I didn't know until my neighbor was moving out. She's like, don't you know that this was an old battleground between the Indians and the Spaniards? And I was like, no, I didn't know that at all. And she's like, I can't believe you lived here for almost 20 years and you don't know this shit. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I've walked past the museum, but I never really went in there. But I think we're on a battleground, which could be at the same time a burial ground. And the blue spruces we have are pretty immense, so that just kind of shows the age of it. But just the energy and activity going on is pretty insane.
Are you still there now?
Yes.
You're still there living there now?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, you got a lot to deal with then. Like if you're dealing with that stuff. I mean, again, it's like, what happened? How did it happen? And now you're dealing with the residual of everything that's happening, and it's all real. So I mean, I would be freaked out. I mean, unless you can handle it, I would be freaked out.
I'm pretty calm with it because I just kind of feel connected because I am Native as well. I'm Irish Cherokee. I also have some Germans and Mediterranean other shit going on there, but I don't know. I feel grounded. I feel at home here. When we pulled up to this house, I was like, man, this is my home. And my husband's like, really? Yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. But yeah, people are freaked out. Like my sister finally got her out of the homeless camp, got her right next door to the house. We gave her a little pull-behind trailer that she's trying to rebuild, but she's kind of scattered at the moment. But she's afraid of this property. She's afraid to come from her trailer into the house to use the bathroom. And I'm just like, why? I've lived here for 20 years. I've only had one walk-in, almost two, but I walked away from it and got away from it. But, I was only possessed once. It's okay. It's all good. Feel free at home. But, there's shadow things out there.
That's the thing, too. If you can live with it and deal with it, and there's no problem. But other people, might be more affected than others. Some people are more open to others. So, I congratulate you for dealing with it because again, I don't know. I mean, when I'm thrown into a situation, it's like I have to deal with it and know what it is. But my house was the place I'm in now, of course, even where I am right now, calling the studio. It was seriously haunted, seriously demons and things flying out all the time. And I would do podcasts and they go, what's that thing flying across your head? I go, well, okay, this is just a demon. Don't worry about it. So
it's just a demon. It's all good.
It's calmed down a lot, and I had to deal with it. But I had some serious demon activity here for a long time, and I had to, I said, that's it. I had to clear it, and I'm fine now, thank God. But, you're always on the alert to go what's hanging around the other corner. And, when I do ghost tours, that's another thing. People ask me, well, how come you're not haunting everybody else is? And they go, well, I'm grounded. I protect myself. I really do. I want to go in with honesty and sincerity, and I want to, do the best. And I respect the dead. I really do. And a lot of people, I said, I'm grounded. I try to protect myself. I use crystals. I use everything. And nothing bothers me. But I hear all kinds of stories when I do a tour. Oh, my God. They're all haunted. Everything's coming at me and they're attacking me. It's like, well, you didn't get grounded. So, it's how you approach it and how you understand it. And if you appreciate it and you acknowledge it, then you're okay, you know?
Well, and it's true, because if you have fear and anger and all these different things going on, they feed off of that. I'm not afraid. And it's funny because after moving here, that is when I started having my UFO experiences. It started in 2012, and I was pregnant with my son and driving home from the motorcycle rally in Ignacio, and my daughters are in the back. I'm driving my 1978 Gran Torino, beautiful, beautiful machine. And
Nice
they're like,
car.
Mom,
Yeah.
Mom,
Oh, yeah.
look, there's a light in the sky. There's a light in the sky, and it keeps following us. And I'm like, I can't look right now, baby girl, because I'm driving. But as soon as I get to the stop sign, I'll check it out. So got to the stop sign, put it in park, jumped out, and looked up, and my daughter's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And I'm like, I'm trying to see what you guys have been talking about this whole time. And I saw this orb in the sky, and it's not even dark yet. This thing is fucking following us, and it looks like it has fire inside of it.
Wow.
After that, I saw it again. I'm sitting there after I gave birth to my son. I'm breastfeeding him. I'm looking out the back door, and I'm thinking about Dylan Redwine. He went missing. His father actually killed him on Thanksgiving break. Motherfucker. But I'm like, I hope he's okay. I hope he's safe, because Mark Redwine was known to take his kids and hide them. So I'm like, I hope he's okay. I hope he's safe. I hope at least he has a warm blanket, that he's warm. But he wasn't. Yeah. His bones were on the side of the mountain. And I saw this orb coming down the fence line at a slow walking pace. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I detached the child from my breast, put him down on the couch, run over to the door. I open it up, and I step out into the snow. And all of a sudden I realize I'm a mother. I have 3 kids now that I need to take care of. And I don't know what this thing's intention is. Like, if I go out there to interact with it, is it going to disintegrate me? Is it going to abduct me? What's going to happen? So I just went back inside, closed the door, tried to get my phone to the camera setting. Did not work, so I called my family over, my 2 girls and my husband. My 2 girls saw the same thing as I, an orb that looked like there was liquid fire flowing through it in a counterclockwise action. Yellow, orange, and red. Yellow, orange, and red. My husband saw an orb with an immensely huge, large, glowing bat flapping its wings at a very slow rate of speed. I'm like, that has to be some sort of shield that they're using, because we see what it actually is, and he sees something different. I don't know, it's so weird. My son, he was born with 6 fingers on his right hand. He's got 2 thumbs and 4 phalanges.
Wow.
And I wonder, was I abducted? Was I inseminated? Like, what exactly happened here? And my 2 littles, which are 9 and 6, have told me about their alien encounter. They thought it was a dream, but they had the same experience.
Well, as long as they're healthy, I guess that's okay. But I mean, that's just bizarre. But again, it's like, who knows what happens and beyond. We don't know. I mean, things happen, but I mean, if it's all good, it's all good, right? You could have 10 figures, and I guess that guy's okay, It's like bizarre.
Yeah, I bet when he gets older, he's going to be really good at 21.
Wow. I mean, again, we don't, it's so much pondering of life, every day. Do you ever get that? You just go like, I'm awake and I'm alive and I'm pondering life. Did you ever get that? And it's like,
yeah,
how does this
just staring
happen?
at the
How
ceiling.
do these things happen? Yeah, it's like, it's not even like you're starting a day and it's like, oh yeah, it's a Monday, Tuesday, and what is in store for me for life? What am I supposed to do? And I say that all the time, and it's like, it's like, oh my God, well, what is going to happen today? And it's like, I don't really want to know, but you try to do your best, and you live your life to the fullest. And I think, by the grace of God, thank God, I'm still alive. I'm still doing this for 20, 30 years. And I'm glad I can help people. I'm glad I can share my experiences and I help people, and I really enjoy that I can, tell my experience and somehow give consolation to someone who's in need. And I think that's the most important part about it all, really.
And I totally agree with you on that, and that's why I continue to do this show, even though sometimes, like I told you on break, sometimes I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels. Is anybody out there? As Pink Floyd had said before. I don't know. I just feel like, am I wasting my time? Am I really doing anything good? Special? Am I doing something?
Right? We all do.
But I like to have that safe space for people to share their experiences, like you're here sharing yours, and other people are listening to it, and being consolated and knowing I'm not batshit crazy. This shit is really happening.
Exactly my point. And it's like, if people can learn and share and understand and be a part of a community, I think that's the whole point of we're going to solve this whole problem. What the hell is going on? And we all are in this together, right? And I think it's great because you do a great job. And it's as I said to you before when I was off air, other people just go, I want the story, I want the ghost, I want this and that. And they don't care about people. They don't care about something. They want the story. And it's it's not about the story. It's about our lives. We're living this every day. We're experiencing it. So, can we share it? Can we understand it? Can we all participate? Can we be together as one? And hopefully we can understand it and have a good time about it and learn, right? And that's the whole point I try to always promote and put out. We're all here for a short time, but can we all learn something as we experience it?
Exactly. Yeah, we're all spiritual beings having this human experience, and it's a very short period of time. It seems like, especially when you're younger, forever. 3 months is too long, too far away. And now 3 months is like a blink of the fucking eye, Time is crazy, especially as you get older. I feel like it goes faster and faster and faster, but you're still having these experiences. I don't know. For me, I try to learn from everything that I am a part of, as well as other people's stories like yours. I can listen to it and decipher and, choose what I accept and what I don't. Everything you said so far, I totally accept because I've been there, done that. This whole spiritual awakening is kind of scary, but if you embrace it, instead of closing the window, open it, let it in. And, I don't know, I think we're here to not only help people in this realm, but people on the other side. Have you done any sort of spiritual releasing or anything when you do your investigations? Have you released anyone?
Well, it's kind of cool because, on that note, I was doing investigations for a long time. We were at Emma's Back Porch, a famous bar, restaurant for many years. And there was one ghost that was trapped, literally trapped. He couldn't go on. I know he was there. He died there. His name was John. He died in the upper level. He was in a restaurant. He choked on a a steak, a bone, and he died on the spot.
That reminds me of a stick I was trying to chew up the other day, and I couldn't chew all the gristle. I was like, if I try to swallow this, I'm going to choke to death. I need to spit it back out.
For years, he was stuck there. And I would always see him, and he was even the owners would say, well, this guy died there on the spot. He's there, he's a ghost, and he can't leave. He was trying to go on to their side. So a couple of years ago, I brought in a psychic. He was very good, and we talked to John, and we contacted him. And they said, John, you want to leave? You want to go to the other side? You want to go and see your loved ones? And he said, yes, so release me. So it was bizarre because there was no power on that time. There was nothing going on, no power, no nothing. And all the lights turned on in the area, in the dining room. All the lights, everything just blew up. And there was nothing on at all. And I guess we make a president. He said, yeah, I want to go on. So we actually sent him to the other side. And I said, John, you are free. You are a free person. You died. You lived your life. Go on and live your life to the other side. We sent him to the other side. And it was so phenomenal. We had this whole light glow. This portal opened up, and he went through. It was just, oh, man, it was like a movie. It was so fantastic. Went through, and he went to the other side, and we released him. It was, like, phenomenal. And he was gone. He was, like, so thankful. And I think, we did a ghost tour later on, 2 weeks later or something. He came back and said, thank you for sending me on the other side. I'm with my loved ones now. He came back. He couldn't come back from the portal, and he came back and in and out, and he was so thankful. Even when he died, he was there for like 20 years. And I broke down. I literally broke down because I was so emotional because I was thinking, thank you for that experience of helping, a spirit, a loved one.
And just like feeling the energy, like when he's released. I want to say, could you imagine? But you didn't have to imagine. You could feel it. Oh my gosh.
And there was so much love in the room that he'd gone, he left, and he thanked me, came back, and he said, I'm released, thank you. So that really amazed me.
That is so awesome.
That really took me, that I helped a spirit go on to the other side and go on to the other world, right? So again, we are here again, I believe, to help and to preserve and to acknowledge. Even though somebody's dead and deceased, we can help them to acknowledge the life they had and go on to the spirit world.
You're making me want to cry because I can tell that you got teary-eyed on that. I'm like, oh, man. But it's funny. We did an investigation, and we showed up early in the morning for a pre-investigation, and that goes against everything I believe. Hey, I just went to bed like 2 hours ago. You really want me here at 8:30 in the morning? But I showed up, went there, we set up equipment, and we got her first and last name. Kate Johnson, Walter, Intention, Death, Sharp Tool, so on and so forth. Well, she was a prostitute, aka, back in the day, they call it a soiled dove, and she was going to elope with her fiancé, and the brakeman found them together. He had known her in certain ways, and was really pissed off about it, and so he got in a fight with the firefighter and stabbed him to death. That was the sharp tool, was a knife. They ended up throwing him off the train as it was going down the way. He did not die, but he broke his collarbone and such. But not only does she haunt this museum in Durango, the Railroad Museum, he does too. He stays in the cinema car and he kind of floats around from place to place, and he's a real asshole. But I think due to the fact that we found her real name, because they were calling her Emmy before, and Emmy is the little girl ghost that lives there. We were trying to find her story, but the brakeman, Walter, kept coming in and cussing and chasing her off, scaring her. So she couldn't tell her story, and we couldn't, release her too. But Kate, it's amazing. She was released because the museum curator told this Catholic school class about her. She was raised Catholic, and they did a prayer of release from purgatory. And a lot of Catholics say, oh no, that prayer doesn't exist. Yes, it does, because it happened that day. And she was released. She was gone for about 3 months. And I went in there about a week after they did it. I just had this feeling I need to go back and check on it. And Jeff is like, I think she's gone. Can you go over to the train car and see if you sense her? And so I went in there, and she was gone. She was not there anymore. And I'm like, nope, she's not there anymore. She's gone. And he was pretty sad about that because he had been trying to protect her for so long. But then she came back to protect Emmy, and they were partners. I'll have to send you that picture too. You can see them on a game camera, their eyes all aglow, and they're both wearing these cool white dresses and some sparkly headbands. Kate looks like she's trying to get out of the picture, but Emmy's just standing there staring like, why the fuck are you taking my picture? But yeah, they're there and completely alive, even though not in body, in spirit.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
I didn't know if it turned into a ghost or not. So.
No, I was like giving you a chance.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, like, you get all these experiences and people tell you, but it always comes down to one thing. Have they moved on? Have they acknowledged their life? Have they moved on? And have they resolved, what has happened in their life? And can they go on as a spirit, fully intact and say, yes, my life is complete. Yes, we do carry on as spirit energy.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing and miraculous, but I think she was in a state of purgatory. She was stuck. And from us just doing that preliminary investigation, we were able to get her out of there because the story was known and shared, and people were able to do something about it, and she was able to go, but due to free will, she came back. So she could be in heaven right now, but she's trying to protect little Emmy. But on that note, we do have to go to our second musical break. On this break, again, we have Miss Mia Savage with Lemurian Crypto, The Bottom Line, and Let Me Be Your Home. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break. Welcome back, Wapham crew. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. Tonight we are joined by Mr. Patrick Cross, and we've been on the break talking about UFOs. It's pretty insane what's going on right now, and there was a real upheaval as far as UFOs, paranormal activity, but it kind of seems like the calm before the storm. I feel like everything's been really quiet recently, and I just feel like any day now it's going to kick back up. How do you feel about it?
You know, I watch this, I guess the phrase is I watch the skies, but, you know, until things are really disclosed and things are actually verified, it's hard to say what is really going on. You can watch these shows, you can watch all strange evidence, paranormal shows. You know, is it real? Is it really happening? I mean, until we get a verification from the government of some sort, I think it's great entertainment. I love watching it. I think it can be real. But again, are we, you know, looking for the smoking gun? Are we looking for the real evidence? Is it really happening? And I have to look at.
Go ahead.
You know, I always look at, like, is it really real? How can we, you know, put this in our own lives, of our daily lives, what's happening, and what can we do to actually acknowledge it? And that's the whole point, really.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we have these experiences, we know what we have seen and experienced, and it's kind of like looking to your parents like we did as children for our paranormal shit that happened. Could somebody acknowledge this? Could somebody say, yes, this is really happening because it is real and true to you, but when it's really, really happening and they acknowledge it, that makes it even more real. You know what I'm saying? We're just waiting for that acknowledgement from our parent, our government.
Yeah, and one minute they're saying it's declassified, it's real, and then the other thing is, oh, it didn't happen. So it's like, we're back to square one. Is it really happening or is it not? They want to admit it, and then they don't want to admit it. And the Navy wants to admit it, and then the Air Force doesn't want to admit it. So it's like, this ongoing, you know, fight back and forth. Who's doing what? And it's like, if you experience something, you saw it, and it's real, then you experience it. That's the way I only go. If you actually had something and you experience it, then it's real. Okay? I don't care what the government said. I know what I saw out there when I'm, like, outside barbecuing, or I saw, you know, aliens or UFOs. Yeah, it's real. That's the way I look at it, and that's my final say. I saw it. I believe it. Goodbye. You know, kind of thing.
Yes. It's like, goodbye, David. Do who at what who? I know what I saw. I saw what I know. This shit really happened. And it's crazy to me because my kids are generally pointing it out to me. I was going to tell you on break about my kids' experience. So I was working overnight security, and I would always talk to my kids about their dreams. And my daughter Lily, she's the one that told me about her past life. She's like, Mom, I gotta tell you this dream I had last night. There was a UFO in the backyard, and this is about 5 feet from where I'm at right now, pointing, you know, a little to the left and upwardly. She said there was a UFO back there. These aliens came and took them by the hand and led them to the UFO. So they walked up the ramp, they went into the UFO, and the UFO started to rise. Floyd was like, fuck this, I'm not going. So he basically jumped out. And then Lily, being that was her big brother and he jumped out of the UFO, she jumped out too. And she said, then we ran and Floyd tripped. And that's when I knew it was not a dream. This was a shared experience. Floyd said, I didn't trip, you tripped. And they argued back and forth about who tripped. And then Lily started laughing. Ha ha ha. Do you remember when you jumped on that alien's head? That was so funny. And that's when I knew this was not just a dream. This was a shared experience.
Yeah, for sure. You know, as you know, you have kids, right? Kids are more open and honest than anyone. And I'll believe them because, you know, parents want to say, oh, yeah, I made it up. I saw this invisible person. I saw this ghost. I'm friends with this ghost. I'm interacting. I'm talking. Parents most times don't believe it. I believe them because when you're a young child, you're open to everything. You're open to the world. You're free of anything that wasn't told to you when you grow up. So when you grow up, you lose most of this stuff. Open to, psychic abilities, open to seeing things until you get maybe 18, 19, and 20. Then you start seeing things again. But like everybody tells you, oh, it's just, this and that. It's not real. But I really believe when the kids say something, they're open to it because they're innocent of the world. They have no experience. They have no real knowledge to say, well, why isn't it real? And they're open to real suggestions. I think the kids will actually tell you it's real, and I believe that more than anything else.
Yeah, and for me, like, I really hated as a kid, and I think you can feel the same way, when I tried to tell my grandparents or whoever else, I'm so scared, there's a woman in here, or there's something happening, like, somebody's coming after me, and they're like, oh no, there's nothing happening, just go back to sleep. Would you just fucking go back to sleep? I'm like, I can't, because there's something in here. But I know they knew.
Yeah.
They knew.
Yeah.
And it was realized to me that they did know when they captured my brother when he was running from the kobolds, and they finally caught him and, disintegrated his soul, basically. Which is weird. You would think, okay, kids are so spiritually futile. Like, they're sovereign. They're just open and honest and the purest of pure. How can something come in and capture your soul? It's so unfair. Yeah, I could see this happening to an adult, but to a kid, and then my grandparents helped to facilitate this so he wasn't running through the house every night. They're like, hey, let's catch this kid so these kobolds can catch him, and then, we can sleep again. I know they knew what was going on. I saw what happened to him when they caught him and these things captured him. He just went limp. And then after that, it was like nothing ever happened before. And after that, that's when I saw the devil. But that to me just facilitated. They knew something was going on. We went from sleeping in our rooms to sleeping in the living room to this whole nightmarish bullshit happening. And they built their house on a burial ground. Of all places. I don't know.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
You had a lot more experiences. Oh, look at me. Holy cow. I think you should be on my show.
Yes, I would love that.
But again, it's like, well, I haven't had a podcast yet, but I'm trying to get it together. But, you know what I mean? It's like you have more experiences, and you're trying to acknowledge that. Okay, from everybody else that has, similar or whatever, and they're trying to, like, realize and what's going on. And I truly believe it. It's like, but, when you tell somebody and they go, yeah, that, we don't believe it. So it's like, if it happened to you and you really experienced it, like I did, then you believe it. Then you know it's true. And it's like, that's the truth of it. You can't deny that. And,
no, this shit really happened.
Funny how you say it. Yeah, and it's funny how a lot of people say, well, we don't know, we don't think, it's like, well, if you haven't experienced it, then you don't really know, right? And that's what I always say. If you haven't experienced it and you went through this shit and hell and back, you don't know what the hell it is. So, back off. You can't claim what I did through.
And I think it's like a learning and growing experience. Each experience you have helps you to learn more, grow more. Oh my gosh, this world is full of so many things that nobody would even realize. There's so many people out there that even deny God. Is God an alien? Is God really this heavenly being? Who knows what the hell he really is? But atheists and people that don't believe in anything, I'm like, seriously? And you have kids? Can you not see God in your kids? Because that's where I see God in my kids, in nature around me. That's where I find my church. Instead of going to a church and being judged by others, I just see it in the world around me, you know, and I can feel it and sense it. And so many things have auras. That's what kind of freaks me out too. Trees and plants, I can see their aura. It's pretty amazing. This is a living
and
atmosphere.
They're all living, exactly how you said that, because they're all living things. They're all living, breathing things. Plants and trees, all living animals are the earth is breathing, honestly, from, day one. And it's like, I see that all the time. So how could you acknowledge that, how could you not acknowledge that plants are alive and living, and they feel and sense and have feelings just like us? I agree. And we're all totally interacting as one. Earth is that. And if people would actually realize that, I think it would be a better place. Get back to reality, get back to the earth, get back to, the true senses, instead of like, I got to shop at Amazon, I got to shop at Walmart. It's like, every day it's like, you don't know what you're living. That's all you care about is your mail and packages in your Amazon. It's like, I see it all the time. It's like nobody's living their lives anymore. This is what we were meant to be. And how you stuck up in a world that's just like so connected to, like, you got to get it, buy something, deliver something, and enjoy it. That's it. It's like, what happened to the rest of the world? I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty sad how members of the church can victimize people, whether it's monetarily, as far as money, or sexually abusing kids. There's a lot of that has happened in the Catholic Church, and I know a lot of friends that have major issues because of abuses and things that have happened to them. It really scars the spiritual soul. I don't know. It's just intriguing to me, people, and I think church is a good thing. I have gone to church because I needed that medicine. I think different churches are different medicine for different people. I think if we all just came together as a religion, instead of fighting each other and like, I'm better, I'm the pure and only, truth and faith, I think if we all just came together and we're on the same threshold, we'd be okay. But we're so divided these days, whether it's spiritually or recently it's patriotically, or are you Republican, are you Democrat, what are you? Everybody's so divided. I think the last time I saw us so divided was the Civil War, and I think even though I don't think Canada really went through that, I think it really did affect everyone up there. I think it just kind of sent out those little sound rings or whatever, and did affect everyone in the general area. But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we, even Canada relates to the more U.S. And I don't think anybody knows this, because I live here. I've been here. A lot of things that happen trail off to us. So even though we're Canadian and you're U.S., we still are affected by many things that the U.S. does. And even though the U.S. has gone through wars and through all these things and trials and tribulations, we're still affected because we have the same thing here. Although we don't have the main problems that are going on, the main delegations between Republicans and Democrats. But, we're aware. But again, we have our own problems with our own government because they don't acknowledge the actual Canadians. They'll take in immigrants more than Canadians. They don't care about us as the original Canadians of living here. They'll give everything else to them immigrants and give us nothing. So there's this whole battle going on of how we survive, and a lot of things that are shipped from the U.S. are affecting Canada right now. Things are going up. Things are prices going up. Everything's affected because the economy is still
motherfucking COVID
by the U.S. Even though, it doesn't know that. So COVID is a big thing. It's like, okay, we're going to be short water, we're short fuel, we're going to short this. It's affected because U.S. is our main source of income as well. So you can't deny that. And we're being affected regardless of who even though we're Canadian, we're affected very much by the U.S. because we're affiliated to you guys, and we're part of you guys. So it's like, we're living in the same terms. So it's a scary, threatening thing that's going on constantly right now.
It's funny to me because I feel related to you because my grandmother, Nova Rose O'Brien, originally from Ireland, settled, instead of going to New York City, they went up to, I want to say Canada. I don't know why I always want to say that. But they went to Canada, and she was in different places, but she settled into Raymond, Alberta, Canada. And so I'm just like, I want to go there someday. I want to see my family up there and visit and get to see all these things. It's crazy because you had to have a passport and all this other shit, and all the borders were closed. But recently they reopened so people can visit their families, but I think you still have to have a passport to get through. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you still need a passport to get through. I don't know what the restrictions are for COVID, because I used to do a lot of psychic shows and shows in the U.S., and now it's really well controlled because I'm not officially vaccinated. So right now I'm limited. I can't travel to the U.S. because I want to do other shows and I can't. But when that's lifted, I'll be back doing, a lot of like paranormal shows and psychic shows and visitations and being there for a lot of like the events. And sadly I can't because like the government is really controlling, well, you got to be vaccinated. If you can't come here, you can't come here. And it's like, it had nothing to do with like, me as a person. Like I'm good. I'm like, okay. But this whole vaccination thing has wrecked everything for, going to restaurants. You have to be vaccinated. You have to do this. You can't go anywhere. You got to be this. You got to be that. So it's really put a big problem on what you want to do, where you want to go, because they have to have this whole vaccination thing, which totally is bogus, I believe, because you're going to laugh, because in January they're going to lift all the restrictions and said you don't have to be vaccinated anymore. So what was the point of it? Are we all guinea pigs? Or are we all just going to be like vaccinated and stick the needle in you to make sure you're, part of the system and then zoom you up to?
You can be controlled. We can control you.
And it had nothing to do with anything because you were perfectly fine and healthy before. So why do you need to be vaccinated now? And it's like, it pisses me off because like I'm living my life. I don't want to be vaccinated. And automatically now I have to be this and that and prodded and put stuff in me for whatever reason to affect.
You're like, I already did that with my alien invasion, okay, and I'm over it. I don't know. For me, it's just like, I'm not a sheeple. There's lots of sheeple out there. People are doing what is good for them, and I've even talked to my daughter who had whooping cough, aka pertussis, as a baby. Another kid, the very same name, Nova, died about a month before she got it, but it was insane. No, it was the same time she had it. So she had it, and then this other kid named Nova died, and they're like, oh, really? Like, you're bringing this kid in? I thought she died. No, that is not my child. My child is still alive. Please take care of her. But these different vaccinations, and people scoff about it, and they judge, and they're like, polio, diphtheria, all these other things we do vaccinations for. Why are you not willing to take this? So I'm thinking, because I have seen different things in the media and such, that after October, I might go and get my vaccination, but I think there's a certain date, and I think it might have already happened, or it's coming up pretty soon. If you have the vaccination and the whole 5G thing, I don't know, total speculation, but it feels like there's a lot of fingers in the network, and even Trudeau, being as, valiant as he is, had his finger in this pie from the get-go as far as the whole COVID goes. Certain people were paying money to this certain experiment that they're testing and they're doing, and then two people got it from the lab, took it home. People got sick, and then it broke out just a block away in the market. Maybe perhaps they were going home, and on their way home, they went to buy some meat and ended up spreading it. But yeah, it broke out before they intended it to. This totally got out of control. I don't know. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah,
what do you think?
It's just like, okay, I know this for a fact. Okay, a lot of people are getting vaccinated and getting sick. They're literally having the problems. All kinds of things are happening. Lesions. They're getting all kinds of things happening to their body. And I don't want anything to do with it because I have my own self. I have allergic reactions. I have severe actions. I have allergies. I have, pneumonia. I had pneumonia. I had, asthma. I had lots of. I don't want to take it. I won't take it, and I will not be forced to take it because I know that I had blood clots. I had everything. I was like, I'm not.
Yeah, you don't want to have a stroke.
Myself.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, and if I have a stroke, then what? You know what I mean? And they don't even, and they tell you when they get vaccinated that you have to sign a waiver to say you're not responsible if you die or you get sick. So, like, what the hell is that? It's like, I'm living my life. I don't need to be more sick or, problems than I am to put these things in me that are going to, make me more of a artificial kind of human being, synthetic, and that's what they want to do, then I'd rather am. So I'm going to live my life and I don't care. And if I have to lose my job over everything else, I won't care because I'm not going to be vaccinated. And it's funny because by January 17th, they're even saying they're going to lift it all and you don't have to be vaccinated anymore. So what was it? Was it an experiment? Was it to...
Well, it could be because of,
your body?
So many people get the vaccination, so it causes, herd immunity. And that's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah,
I've been doing...
You literally have problems. You have any kind of, past allergic problems or serious problems in your life, health-wise, you're going to have more, and this is not going to help it. And it's just you're going to get more stuff and probably die from it or whatever. And then they're not going to help you at all. I've heard many stories here in Ontario, people getting perfectly healthy and getting sick and dying, or getting sick and having really, really serious problems that they can't even, walk or live anymore or do anything. So, where does it go?
I know. It's pretty freaky, and it's just like, what do you do? What do you do?
I don't care. I'll wait it out. And I'll see when everybody else dies from the vaccination. They say, we didn't really know. You know what I mean? So I think it's a big, bloody well experiment to just kill everybody off. And if you survive, you're lucky as hell. And that's what I think it is.
Yeah. And then there's this date coming up. What's going to happen when this date happens? Are all the sheeple going to, go towards a certain direction? Is there some sort of... There is metal in this vaccination. There's Luciferian. There's a number of different things in there. And it's like, don't take this vaccination if you're allergic to anything in it. How do you know until you take it if you're allergic to it, So it's just kind of preposterous.
Yeah, and a lot of people, especially in the U.S., have health problems, You can't take something if you're allergic to things or have health problems, and it's going to create more problems. So, you can't say everybody is acceptable. You got to say, a lot of people are exempt, and it's like the government just forces on you and say, even Biden, you got to have everybody exempt. You have to do this. It's like, give me a break. If you're going to be sick and die from it,
he said that many a time. Give me a break. We can't, Mr. President.
Exactly. It's like, if you know yourself, your health, and you know you're living, why would you want to put more things on you that's going to cause more health problems? Well, that's my thing, and I totally disagree, and I will back it up to the end I die, and the day I die. I'm not
Well,
going to
did you
go
see
through it.
when President Biden actually got his vaccination and he was wearing a mask and people are like, okay, what's this all about? People just look and see and judge on different points of different things. For me, okay, I'm not just wearing a mask to protect myself. I'm trying to protect my kid that had pertussis and has a compromised immune system. So any length that I think I can do, even though people say or poo-poo it and say, oh, masks don't work. Why do people wear masks in surgery then? Like, the scientific or medical facility knows masks do work. That's why they wear them during surgery, so they're not spreading disease from this to that and from you to it or it to you and all these other things. It does work, even though it's not fully 100% functional. It does work on a smaller stasis. I don't know. I wear my mask, and I got some really good ones. I got the Cheshire Cat. I got Jack Skellington and his wife, and all these other things on my face. And they're so comfortable, unless a dog hair or something gets in there. I'm like, what the fuck is that in my nose? But yeah, otherwise, I wear it.
You know yourself that, okay, this is a limit, right? You're going to say, okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to do what I can do, and I believe what I can do, and if they don't like it, too bad, and you're going to fight for it. And it's like, that's like anything else. If you just agree to the whole concept, or how I say, hurting, I believe we're fucked. I really do. I'm not going to go with it. I'm going to last this out. I'm going to fight it out. I'm going to believe in it, and, I'm going to persevere because nothing
adapt
should
and
be
overcome.
forced in your body. Nothing should be forced in you. You have the freedom of rights, freedom of speech, freedom of everything. Nothing should be forced on you as a person.
Yeah, all of these things have been trying to be cut off. People are trying to shut these things down. This is no longer acceptable. No, this is our freedom. These are our rights. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And where the fuck did you come from?
Socialism, too, like dictatorship is not a solution. And that's becoming what it is. Even in Canada, even in the U.S., we're a dictatorship. We want you, we're enforcing you, and that's bullshit. And I will never, ever believe that because we have freedom of speech and freedom of rights to live our lives.
Do you know what really scares me? Looking at Australia, okay, the land down from under. Always a free, spacious place. So militant these days. It's insane. There's helicopters with loudspeakers. It's like, hey you, in the grey shirt, if you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? There's people flying around doing different shit like that, and I'm like, oh my god, Australia has become a militant state, and that is really scary, because they're the freest country ever.
They are.
Yeah.
So is Europe, so is Switzerland, so is like a lot of places. Again, it's like if you give yourself to them, they're going to take it no matter what. So if you just like fight it and say, screw you, I'm not doing it with everybody else. And there's like, I know there's over 100,000 people who agree with me and say, we're not going to take this shit. We're not going to live with this. We don't care. We're going to be us and we're independent. So screw you,
Yeah, people are freaking out right now because they're like, what is this? This has never happened, and it's a total military state. They don't know what to do. They're freaking scared. I would be too, and I'm just waiting. It's going to happen here too. Eventually, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to try to compromise us. They've already started with the, giving independent payments as far as your kids, so on and so forth. It's kind of like a socialistic state. You get these certain payments every month. It was, for me, like $1,000 every month. This last month, it went down to $500. I'm like, okay, where's the other $500? I don't get it. What's happening? But they're trying to make you dependent on this money, and you're making certain decisions because you're expecting a certain amount of money. And then when it doesn't come through, then you're fucked. What do? I don't know. They're making you dependent.
Exactly. And they're trying to do it here in Canada. They're trying to use a universal benefit. Okay, if you're on unemployment or anything else, the government will compromise and supplementize you, and it's like less than what it would have been if you were on unemployment. So it's like bullshit, It's like, I'm going to work for my life. I don't need that. And they're going to say, we're going to supplement you. We're going to give you everything, and it's even less than what it was when you applied in the first place. So how does that happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really crazy. And not only is that happening, like we were talking about earlier, the paranormal, the UFO, all these other things are ramping up. There's so many different things happening, and then there's a stasis of silence. Right now, I'm looking around, nothing's happening, I'm not seeing any shadows. Last night I did see some sparkles a couple times out of my right eye, and I think that might have been Faye. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Did you see that? And I think my sister Sandra, on the after party, she saw it, but nobody else did. But it was sparkles coming out of the wall right here, right next to me. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? What is it? And it could be Faye or something else. At least it wasn't, the dark shadow I'm used to. But fairies really kind of scare me because they are so powerful. They can control Bigfoot. Do you know anything about Faye and Bigfoot?
Well, okay, and I'll tell it to everybody, and I know this for a fact. Bigfoot is interdimensional, okay? It means that they can move and not be seen. They can interact with you from one dimension to another, appear, disappear. So forget the whole idea of trying to track them, because they can hide, they can disappear, they can reappear. Bigfoot, I think, are interdimensional. They're part of the vortex, they're part of the paranormal. I think they're actually scouts of actually alien integration, intelligence. And I think they're really just here because they're a, primal beast, primal existence, and they're here to interact. So to say that you can capture a Bigfoot, to say that you can, say I saw something, they're interdimensional. I think they actually are very intelligent. They are a primal species, but they work with the aliens, and they can interact and come and go as they please. So that's why they can never be tracked. They can go in, they can go out, they can disappear, they can reappear, they can do what they want. They're a species that was planted by the aliens to monitor and live their lives as they wish, here on Earth, and go through their dimensions. And that's basically it. And if you can't understand that, then you're missing why Bigfoot can never be caught, because it's interdimensional. They are here from the alien subdivisions, whatever you want to call it. And that's basically it. So,
and people say that, but at the same time, I'm just like, okay, so they're interdimensional beings. So you say. But I'm still following their tracks. I see their feet planted on the ground. Even if it's snowy, there's footprints or tracks being seen. Why the fuck aren't they interdimensionally traveling to another stasis instead of, walking through this snowfield? That's what makes me think.
But why are they doing what they did? Exactly. Why? And then they just disappear. So are they interacting with us to observe us, or are they interacting to cause us major shit? Either one, there's got to be a problem. What's going on over there?
Yeah, and it was crazy because I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, the train going to Silverton, everybody's like, holy shit, it's Bigfoot! And everybody's like snapping pictures. And Bigfoot is trussing along this valleyway. He, I think, did not exactly realize his timing. He didn't realize this train was going to come by at this exact time. But here he is running across the field, and there were pictures taken of him. Had he been interdimensional, don't you think that he could just disappear at that moment when people were coming? I don't know. For me, it's just like, I think they're really good at what they do because they've been doing it for so long. and they're really good at camouflaging
Yeah,
and doing
I
whatever,
think
and they're very fast.
I think they're exactly. I think they're a primal species. I think they're really intelligent, but I think they're here to observe or be scouts for the alien division. I mean, I think there's a connection to alien and paranormal, and dimensional and portals. I don't know, because why are they here? Why are they just doing what they do, and then again they just disappear? So it's hard to say. Why has it never been resolved? Why has it taken since 1978, since Roger Lear saw it, or Roger, who was the guy who saw it on a horse, and they still can't figure it out, and they still can't capture it, and they still can't kill it? So how does it take 20 odd years, and they still can't figure it out? Nobody can ever capture it, nobody can ever see it, and when they shoot it, it disappears. So again, interdimensional, it's paranormal, and it's interactive with, I think, the alien species of what they want to observe us as humans. That's really what it is.
Yeah, and it's funny because people are like, oh, well, I saw the Bigfoot being led onto the UFO, or he was walking up with the alien going into the UFO. I think they are in cahoots. But to me, it's just like, okay, remember that time in 1978 or whenever, when that big old Scooby-Doo bus was pulled over, everybody got out in single file line, everybody went up the ramp. Nobody wanted to go there, but they did because they were under a certain stasis of the aliens, and the aliens are like, hey, you're going to go up here. So don't you think they could do that to the Bigfoot too? It's not because they're in cahoots, it's because they're under their control.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know who is observing us, right, for one thing. Two, what is their agenda observing us? And three, what is the whole idea of appearing and disappearing? So all these three things are identifying, acknowledging, and observing. What is it doing to make us believers? Or they're there, and why are they there, and why do they cause this whole commotion of why are they there, and what is the agenda? What's the whole thing? And I still question that, no matter where you are, in Ontario, Canada, USR, New Zealand, in the polar regions, in the Antarctic, they're all there, subconsciously are there doing what they do, and we have to observe it and understand what their acts are. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and it's pretty intriguing as things like glaciers, so on and so forth, are melting down. There are things that are starting to appear. Okay, so I've heard about the Alaskan Triangle. This is not above ground, but underground, but there are other triangles or pyramids appearing in the stasis when this shit is melting away. And there's so many questions, like what is happening in the Antarctic? You've heard people talk about flying into the center of the earth, and then you got flat earthers totally not believing in flat earth, but I know a lot of people that do, and I have people pushing for it recently. You gotta get a flat earther on, we gotta hear this. And other friends of mine saying, you can't do that because people are listening to you and trusting you, and if you did that, they might think it's true. But I think, everybody has their own stasis of seeing things, realizing things, and absorbing things. If it's not real to you or factual, you won't absorb it. But if it is, you will. But it's kind of intriguing. What do you think about the whole flat earth thing?
Well, I totally agree. I mean, if I had really a lot of money, I would love to explore what they say is the last forbidden zone, the Antarctica, okay? Where there's UFOs, where Hitler made his base, where the Nazis, hid out, where everybody else was saying that Antarctica was the actual base of the next, Third Reich or next Fourth Reich. I mean, I would love to explore that and go further and say, well, what is actually happening? Is there a third world? Is there an underworld? Is there, an underlying world in the Antarctica that's waiting to be explored and to be developed, and to find out, the secrets of what was laid there for some reason, in an abominable space, of course, and what does it have to offer us if we explore and we can actually resolve what was going on that is related to the current world, and if it's going to be taken over by some human or superhuman race, is there a UFO base there? We don't know. I mean, all these things are happening. Are skeptical. We don't know. People say, well, there's a UFO base in the Antarctica, buried underground, buried in the in the ice. Like, we don't know. It's like, so I'd love to go out there, and if I had the money and the resources, I would love to do that and find out what's really.
Wouldn't that be cool? We
could
go check it out and do our own investigation and be like, yes, this is true, or yes, this is debunked. Either way, there's something happening out there.
Exactly. I think it's really, there's something going on, and as the original Antarctica investigations went on years ago, they claimed there was, a fortress, a portal. They claimed there was UFO sightings. There was, ships going in, and never got resolved from that Antarctica investigation. I can't remember who did it now, but if you look it up, you can search it, and it's like the original Antarctica investigation of the UFOs, and the second.
Yeah, it was like Lieutenant Colonel so and so. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, it was never resolved. Like, what actually happened? Did anybody find a whole new dimension, a whole new universe, a whole new, people like establishing a society? We don't know. Hitler was definitely involved with it. That he was trying to establish an Antarctica base as the Third Reich, right? We all know that, but we don't know. Well, is it still sitting there? Is there UFO
when I think about Nazis
the
and where they escaped to, I'm like, don't cry for me, Argentina. So I think they went to Argentina. I think that's where Hitler actually died.
Well, he didn't die. We all know that.
He did die in Argentina. Argentina.
Yeah,
not,
we all know that. Yeah. So he escaped. And what was his whole motivation? What did he do to carry on the Third Reich? What did he do? Like, he was a.
They actually started schools there. There was people going to school there to be Nazis. There's little Argentinian children being learnt to be Nazis. It was so crazy. Luckily, it didn't last too long, but yeah, it was a pretty crazy time.
Yeah.
And it's just like.
And he was definitely trying to reenact, or reinvent what happened in society. Okay, he failed in World War II, but did he accomplish what he wanted to do? Was to immense and recreate the world as the ultimate superpower, and that's what his intention was. And did he do that? And there's still this reminiscence of where is he? Where were the bodies hidden? Where's all his tunnels? Where's all his fortresses? Where's all his things that went on? And this went on forever. He
was in a pretty meager stasis as far as his household was. It was a pretty meager stasis. He was out in the middle of nowhere trying to get by. This motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that his end of days were really, really bad. Although I don't like to put that sort of negative energy out there, like what he did to so many people, and so many people don't even believe it. They're like, nope, that never happened. Seriously? This shit really did happen. I don't know, it's so sad and scary. As far as that goes.
They're still finding tunnels, they're still finding headquarters and all the stuff he did after the war. he was very much alive, Hitler, and he was very much starting a Third Reich to, take over and reinforce the world. I mean, again, we don't know what happened if it did get dissolved, but I'm sure there's a lot of people, secrets unknown, the hidden agenda we still don't know, and that's the intriguing part.
Yes, it is very intriguing and interesting. Well, we are basically at the end of our time. We're in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Could you tell our listeners where to find you if they have any questions? Where can they contact you?
Oh my God, you can contact me everywhere. I'm on the internet, 300 sites everywhere. But yeah, Patrick Cross. If you Google that, Patrick Cross or Patrick Cross Ghost, and you can also Google Facebook, or you can check out my official website at burlingtonghostwalks.ca. And that's where I'm always will be, and be glad to answer any questions and help as far as the paranormal world goes. And, offer any kind of help I can, because I'm out there to help and assure people that we are real and we can assert and do our best to, to help everyone that needs help. And if you have any questions, by all means, we are trying to help. Because even though I'm on television, I'm on major TV shows, I'm glad to help people with any questions that come up. And I'm thankful for anyone who is listening and who needs help and really needs our service. And I thank you very much for having me on the show, Tessa. It's been a great time, a great experience, and I love being on this show all the time.
Aww. Thank you again, Patrick. Like I told you earlier, you not only made my day, you made my last 3 months, but thank you again so much for being on our show and sharing your experiences, and it was just really awesome having you here. So I'm super stoked that you were here, and I'm glad that people can now contact you and ask any questions that they may have.
Yeah, it's great. And as you know, every day is a new day, and every day is a paranormal day, and everything happens. So we're always out there, and we're always out for you. So never feel that you're not acknowledged or not wanted, because we all are living, and we all are breathing, and we all believe, and we all here share together, and we all help each other. And I thank you